Exactly. Ed Zachary. So Craig is a fairly soft-spoken guy. He's probably not going to be talking physically much louder than this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, talking about the big screen, the very large screen, which actually looks fantastic in this room, and kind of wandering around a little bit. He's going to, come stop and do this, and then, he'll probably move over here and, reference something up here. But he's pretty, and if we look here, we have an O, and if you look over to this runway, we have an E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He could come all the way down here and stand on the lip of the stage, which I can hear myself in the front fill, so maybe we'll ask him not to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like I said, fairly soft-spoken, probably talking a little bit more like this. But if I were to get a little bit more boisterous, and maybe he gets really excited and talks something like this with some verve, or whatever the terminology is, some gusto, that's right. Can talk like Mexican all-inclusive entertainment person, DJ, Musica Maestro, that we heard plenty of on my vacation. They're actually quite funny. Showtime, showtime, showtime. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, great. Do you want to do the lectern while I'm here? Lectern. So this will be Ian Black, who loves to talk like this. 1, 2, I can hear the compressor. Ian Black is a really boisterous talker because he used to be a politician. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, you're squishing that one. Actually, that's good. That's a nice setting. Because when I get really quiet again, it actually sounds really good. And when I start to get loud like this, I can start to hear myself over the PA. Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Of course, there could be other people up here too. The person introducing Craig, although the person introducing, how does it work? The person introducing Craig is on a lav. I think that's Linda is her name. She's also the one that's doing the Q&A afterwards, so she'll be on lav 2. Then I think the person extroing Craig and thanking Craig will be on lav 3, and the actual introduction will be on the lectern over there, which I'll explain to you when I give you the run of show. Yeah, so ultimately, standing here for Ian Black's intros and thank yous and warm welcomes and running through sponsors and things like that. So he'll be standing here, and he'll say, throw out a lunch, enjoy your lunch. And then during lunch, the lectern is going to move to stage right. Excuse me. Where I think as Linda will come up and intro another gentleman, and Linda will be on a lav, so you can use a lav or the lectern. It's totally up to you at that point. And then the person who comes up to actually introduce Craig will be on the lectern. And then as Craig is introduced, Craig should be coming up from that side of the stage. The lectern will get struck. As Craig is coming up, applause, applause, applause. Magically, the lectern goes away. And then Craig will do his shtick. And then Linda will come back up and do the Q&A with Craig on lav 2. And once the Q&A is done, applause, 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 applause. The person who then thanks Craig and Linda will be on lav 3. And that's it. Yep, absolutely. Yep. But that's that is the run of show. As we know it, that's right. Yeah, gonna keep on talking. So Jesse, I don't know if you overheard that, but there's 2 lectern moves for you. So the lectern starts here in the center, and then during lunch, the lectern moves over to stage right, where it lives until Craig is introduced. Craig is introduced, he, in theory, comes up that side of the stage. Magically, as he's coming up on that side of the stage, the lectern goes poof. Nope, goes away. Just poof. It's a Chris Angel. Find the lectern, find the lectern. And then everything's labs from that point on. Yeah, so the lectern does not come back. We do have an HS handheld that you can keep in your back pocket. The HS handheld. And really that's the show. Yeah. That and the girl from Ipanema. It's got a really big shoe. Cool. Are you comfy with us? Yeah, great, good, love it.
Hi, Craig. Nice to be here with you today. Nice to be here with you today.
my fuck up! My fuck up! My fuck up!
That's destined The Jacob Brothers is
using the
It's like where? you, thank you, thank you. Is he? Was he here? Hello. Well, it's hard not to, because of the lights.
Okay, so let's figure out what is good. Lori, can you keep an eye out for what the appropriate lighting level is on Craig? Because we need to get to where...
Well, remember, I'm not going to be standing here either, so... Hey, put that back up for a second. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, this first one is not a timed event.
Just to run through on my double-sided piece of paper.
I'm glad I wore it.
I know, but you always wear a suit and tie.
I know, but you know why? Because of this.
Perfect. Exactly. I'm glad you're not wearing a bright red tie, or I would have had to call you Trump. Because he only has one outfit. Yes, he's not orange. No, you can't.
So let me know if we're going to rock.
Chris?
Yeah, no, it'll be better because I'm not going to be walking around. So this one's just a little bit, but it's okay. All right. Right here is where I was on the roof to fight Jackie Chan.
You should say that. That's funny. Okay, so can you do that as far back as you went?
Yeah.
And you're out of light. So you're in light,
And you're gone now.
and now you're gone.
Yeah, it's just going upstage that much, just because we have to keep the light
So
off.
there you're good.
Okay. So, okay.
Do you want us to mark it?
No, I can. I've got the lines.
Okay.
Out of light, in light.
I love that you can see Musqueam there.
Are we ready? Okay, I need a start or whatever.
Yeah. Are we good to go, you guys?
Okay. Well, thank you, Stannis. Thank you for that introduction. Thanks to our sponsors, Stantec and CIBC. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. It's been my pleasure to give this presentation over the last 4 years, my 5th time. I'd like to welcome some special guests. Catherine Denani from the U.S., he was the U.S. Consul General. David Goldstein from Destination Canada, with whom YVR just signed the first Airport Destination Canada MOU in Canada. And Mr. Rick Clough, sitting with Stantec. Rick, nice to see you. Good friend of the airport. Rick, of course, quite the host of CBC for many, many years. Well, let's jump right into it. Today's speech is about lift. And here's a quick lesson demonstrated by the amazing Dreamliner aircraft, flown by 6 airlines within YVR. Boy, that's big. The Dreamliner with its carbon fiber fuselage, 15,000 kilometer range, lower cabin altitudes, a true champion. So lift, of course, is one of the 4 forces which acts on an aircraft in flight, and we know that lift is the coefficient times density times the air pressure, times the density times the velocity squared times the area of the wing over 2. Generally, you would get your your, can you stop this once it starts? Or pause it, Brian? Okay. So, yeah, I'll catch up to it. It's hard because I need to be facing when I do this. Can you back it up? We'll do this one again. Just to where this, the lift starts. Yeah, sure. So there are four forces that act on an aircraft in flight. This is the wing of a 787. You have lift, drag, gravity, and thrust. Lift, of course, coefficient times the density times the velocity squared times the area divided by 2. Generally, you would determine the coefficient of lift through fluid dynamic calculations or in a wind tunnel. But as we all know, for a thin airfoil like the 787s, you can approximate it at 2 times pi times the angle of attack in radians. Now, what's interesting is you get into Bernoulli versus, what's getting me is that this isn't showing that part. Okay, it's okay, I can get it. Bernoulli versus Coanda versus Newtonian effect of the push of the air over that high pressure versus low pressure. And then I'll turn around and go, oh, sorry about that. I forgot where I was for a minute.
For a sec, do you want him to pause after Bernoulli?
Well, how long after the Bernoulli equation goes on do you do the scratch out? How many seconds? Sorry, I can't hear you. It's all right. I still can't hear you.
Can you hear me in this mic? Here we go.
Yes, I can. Yes.
As soon as you turn and wave your hand and go, you know what, actually forget about all that, I've got that cued right to the second. So I'm just waiting on you.
Okay, so I'll try that. Forget about all that. I forgot where I was. And it's not happening. And it's still not happening. Okay, so there's about a 5-second.
No, there isn't. No, that was my fault. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I forgot which presentation I was giving. Forget all that. Okay, that's good. That'll work. Okay? So if you walk away...
Let's pick it up from there.
So what I really want to talk about today is lift at YVR and how YVR generates lift by facilitating the ambitions and endeavors of British Columbians. And today's presentation is a bit of a special one, so I'm going to be having a little bit of help. We'll hear from Sam Samadar, Director of Kelowna International Airport. Okay, there's quite a gap there.
Hey, Craig, buddy. Great to be with you here today.
So stop for a second. So there's really not a lot. Once I say today's, there's at least 10 seconds of gap there. What can we do?
The hope is to have you sort of set the stage a little bit. I'm going to be having some help today. We've got 6 representatives of different part of the community, this type of thing. And when the color changes on someone like Sam, that's when you've got about 2 seconds to introduce him. You say, and we're here to see Sam today. And he goes. Yeah,
2 seconds is not enough, though, right? Because I got to say who he is. So I'm trying to figure out how to...
Yeah, I can make an edit, a change to that, but it won't be something that I can do right now on the spot.
So we're not actually here to talk about this. Scratch. What I'm here to talk about is how YVR generates lift for BC. Lift to facilitate the ambitions, the endeavors, the dreams and hopes, the aspirations of British Columbians. In today's presentation, a little bit of a special one. We're going to be talking about a lot of different areas, so I'm going to need a little bit of help. And to help me, Sam Samadar from Kelowna Airport.
Hey, Craig, buddy. Great to be with you here today.
Mr. James Henderson, the President CEO of Avigilon.
Hi, Craig. Thanks for having me.
Scott Jacob, Principal from Jacob Brothers.
Hello, Craig. Thank you very much for including me today.
Penny Wilson, the Chief Marketing Officer at Hootsuite.
Thanks, Craig. Nice to be here.
Ms. Ruby Ng, Executive Director at the Disability Foundation.
Hi, Craig. I'm honored to be here.
And finally, Wendy Grant-John, Counselor of the Musqueam Indian Band.
Hi, Craig. Nice to be here with you today.
But first, I want to talk about the year that was and our exceptional growth at YVR. For the past 5 years, we've been lifting more passengers into the air. In 2017, we welcomed 24,146,000 passengers, an 8.4% increase. This was 1.8 million more passengers than 2016, which itself was 2 million more than 2015. Looking out 5 years, we now expect to see 31 million passengers by 2022. This is much higher than our forecast, even what I told you last year. Why is that happening? Well, there are a couple of reasons. First of all, we're responding to a strong economy. BC's economy is strong, Canada is strong, the world's strong. Another factor is our rates and charges program, Connect YVR, which includes some of the lowest airline rates in North America. As a result, we're seeing new destinations, increased frequencies to those destinations, and higher load factors, which refers to how full an airplane is. That's a big change. A decade ago, they were in the 70s, now they're 80%. Here's two specific examples. To Europe, 91% load factors, 86% to Latin America. Here's another one in the summer. We now have 6 flights to London every day in the summer. That's 1,500 seats both ways, 3,000 seats a day to London in the summer. And it's not just us. Global aviation is growing around the world, up 64% in the last decade, estimates to be doubling in the 20 years ahead. And if I sound a little bit startled, it's because I am. YVR is the fastest growing international airport in North America. And that's important for the region. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. But first, what does this growth look like and where is it all coming from? Let's look at our air services. Our partners delivered extremely strong support for our domestic traffic, which is already on a very high base and grew by 5.4%. This included WestJet's new service to Comox and Nanaimo and increased service to Fort McMurray, Edmonton, Calgary, and Fort St. John. And of course, Air Canada, new service in addition to their extensive domestic network, new service to Yellowknife. And Kevin Howlett, I see you're here. Nice to see you, Kevin. And as well, we welcome Flair Airlines in December, who has service to Kelowna and Edmonton. I don't know if he's coming or not, but if he is, Mike Scott. Or Jim Scott, sorry. Our U.S. traffic had a great year as well, up 9.4%, thanks in large respect to our major hub carrier, Air Canada. In 2017, they added Dallas, Denver, seasonal service to Boston, increased frequencies to L.A. and San Jose, much anticipated service to Orlando, and the announced upcoming service to Sacramento for May 2018. Fantastic year. Now, we're here to connect BC proudly to the world. And in 2017, we did just that, with 13.1% growth for international traffic. This included 2 new air carriers and 11 new and additional services. All markets internationally saw strong growth. But let's start with China. We kicked off in March with Cathay Pacific's new Airbus A350-900 aircraft, the first to arrive at YVR, and their increased Hong Kong service. China Southern launched new service from Guangzhou to Mexico City through YVR, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. We welcomed our new partner, Hong Kong Airlines. Jackie Chan was on the inaugural flight, so naturally I prepared to fight him. And then when I saw what he was capable of, I folded like a cheap suit. He's a real gentleman. That was a lot of fun. And did you know we got 1 million views? Now we have 3 airlines serving Hong Kong. Icelandair increased its service to year-round, and if you haven't been to Reykjavik yet on Icelandair, you really need to do it. And Air New Zealand celebrated its 10th anniversary with an entertaining and somewhat intimidating haka performance on the ramp. And we also welcomed Sunwing's new service to Montego Bay in December, a first. And congrats to our friends at Vantage Airport Group who have been instrumental in the growth of Sangster International Airport. George Casey and your team from Vantage, glad you can make it today. Now back to Air Canada, who had a spectacular year building the YVR hub. New services to Nagoya, to Frankfurt, Taipei, and Gatwick in June, and of course Melbourne in December. Speaking of Melbourne, this is a 16-hour flight, and that means you need 2 aircraft to do it at a cost of about $400 million. It's a serious investment. How does Air Canada make this work? Through banking at YVR. Not the financial kind, Phil. Thank you for being a sponsor, but don't get excited. This is airline banking. What's banking? It's working with airline partners and markets to schedule services so they connect seamlessly at key times. It's efficient and it's important because it fills planes. So let's talk about it. Global Hub pulls in millions of passengers with efficient processes. It's about economies of scale. So here we see Air Canada demonstrating that with their service from Newark with a 787 all the way through to Melbourne, carrying both business people and tourists. And by the way, I took that flight. There's me scaring tourists in Australia. And then it should probably pop out. It sits there a bit too long, I think. Anyway. All right. No, I'm just, getting a feel for it, and I'll be walking around on the next one. So, and this is just from Newark. Remember those new U.S. destinations I mentioned? Let's just add them. There's a lot more, but just them to the process, and we'll actually go to the 3 destinations in Australia. This is banking. You can fly to these 3 destinations with ease because of Air Canada and the ease of connecting through YVR, which we've been working